This secret little trading strategy has been quietly sniping winning trades for years. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that strategy is, what it has been trading, how you can actually copy those trades or make the strategy better. Yes, you heard that right. Let's get into it. So I was on AlphaInsider.com like usual, and I like to sort through different strategies. And so what I was doing was I happened to be looking for top stock strategies, and then I hit the drop down and I wanted at least 5 trades. And I also did not want a drawdown that was more than 20% in the past 1 year, which I'm looking at the past 1 year. And I'll be honest, it could be tough to find, but what I did find was the number one strategy we already talked about in an entire video. I will leave a link to that full video where we break it all down. We unpack exactly what it does, how you can copy it, how you can make it better, all of that great stuff, how you can even automate it with your own brokerage platform. I will link that video below. So if you want to dive deeper into the top trading strategy that we've tracked over the past year, that's what that video is. But I began to look, and I'm looking for something consistent. I want to see a chart that stands out, that's not super up and down, choppy, that takes, a fair amount of trades. Nothing insane, takes a fair amount of trades, but is just like clipping. What's consistent? And what I found was it's pretty clear. As I scroll through, I'm like, wait a second, what's this? This hobby code RSI plus close. This strategy right here has just been clipping over the past, since March 10th of 2025. That's since we've been tracking it. But the thing is, the data goes back much further. When I hit the drop down to show more about what the strategy does, it's actually really simple. And I know you're probably looking up in the top right and you're seeing this auto trade button and you're like, how do I auto trade? I will get to that towards the end of the video. So stick around if you want to see how to do that on AlphaInsider. And you can even do it for free. If the RSI is less than 15, then enter at the close. Exit on the close if today's close is higher than yesterday's high. Pretty simple logic. When you click on this link, it takes you to the TradingView open source script. You can see the chart based on how it's been trading, the strategy report, which is nutty, just nutty. Like when I said at the beginning, this strategy has been cooking for years. I could have said decades, to be honest. I could have said decades. It's worked over decades. And it's had since, looks like when does this go back to? 1993? Since before I was born, I was born in 1998. Since before I was born, this strategy would be up 3,364% with a 23.7% drawdown. That is the max drawdown. And if you take it back to that 1993 period when SPY, I believe, began trading, we can see that SPY itself, if you were to just buy SPY and hold it, would be up 1,483%, which is great. That's the buy and hold. But what is this? This is up 3,000. But wait, it doesn't have these massive drawdowns that we saw at the beginning of the 2000s and that we saw really from 2007 into 2009. That's when I dove into this one, the light bulbs were just dinging. They're going off like crazy. I was like, oh, shoot, we got something here. Right? Jumping back, it did seem to have a tough time in 2018 down to the COVID lows. Well, it didn't do great in late 2018. The market did pull back at that point in time. And then it bounced back prior to 2020 March or February, and then it dumps, had a rough stretch there, and then it's crushed since. It's back to all-time highs on the strategy. Now, there's a couple things I want to dive into when it comes to this strategy, so we're going to do that. But I also want to bring your attention to the source code. When we have access to the source code like this, it's awesome because we could save this code, we can put it into chat, put it into whatever AI, put it into Claude, put it somewhere, and then optimize it, customize it, change it. Say, hey, I want to put in these parameters. I want to add a stop loss. I want to change this. I wanted to, change the RSI period from 2 to 3, change the RSI from 15 to 14. And those could make dramatic changes in how the backtest performs or how this hypothetically the strategy would perform over time. Does it mean that it's going to get better in the future? No, because we don't know the future. Obviously, that's what backtesting is all about. We can only go off the past, but we don't know the future. So to me, this one goes and sticks out because it's not necessarily like you're just buying SPY and holding it. It's returning better, and it's actually held up well through 2 substantial bear markets in the 2000s, which I like to see. And even when it had the bear market back in COVID, or prior to COVID, okay, 23% drawdown. I mean, COVID, SPY was down 35% roughly from the high to low. I mean, by itself. So this isn't even as bad. That's why I like it. Now, AlphaInsider is tracking everything in real time. So all the trades this is taking, boom, boom, boom. We're getting it tracked live real time. So you're able to see all that. What I do want to bring your attention though to is that when I pull this up, there's a button down here that says use on chart. So it's going to pop this open. So here we go. We've got the signals and everything firing on SPY. Now the strategy creator mentioned backtesting on the S&P 500 mini futures, which I'll show you in just one second. But a couple of things here. Trading futures is not currently available on AlphaInsider, but also it takes on more risk because the nature of the strategy is a situation where you are entering at the close and then holding overnight. So it's not necessarily a day trade strategy by any means. And when you do that with futures, you have to have more capital, more margin requirements. Where if you're day trading futures, you don't need very much at all. A lot of brokers nowadays that you can trade futures, E-minis or micro E-minis with, $50 in your account, $100 in your account, and you can trade and get that leverage. So there takes on a bit more risk with the future side versus the stock side. However, AlphaInsider does offer the ability to get up to 2x leverage on stock trades, but it's also compounding. So what's happening on this strategy right here is it's essentially taking a 1.5x leverage, meaning 150% of the capital, and it's trading SPY. You can go up to 2x leverage when you set this up on your own. With this route, if you do happen to hold SPY through a dividend, you'll also get the dividends, which is kind of nice. In this case, it got a dividend. Cool. It's an extra little piece of cash into the puzzle. But I go back and you go, okay, well, this back test doesn't look like the other one. Well, because I'm looking at this back test and it all depends, the performance really depends on your settings. So this is basing off of, I think, $100,000 or $1 million account. I don't even know. I can't read all the zeros. But if I was to jump down to a $1,000 account, or let's say I started with $500, okay, and I click on OK, let's adjust. If I start with $500, well, now we have a 99% P&L, 8% drawdown, and things change. So when you start to use leverage and you apply those things, it does change. However, when you go into this again, things get really interesting when you now apply how AlphaInsider is actually trading. On AlphaInsider, it's not buying one share of SPY. What it's doing is it's taking a percentage of your account and buying that much. So let's say that we were to go off of, simply put, 100% of our account. And we start with $500 back in 1993. And we trade SPY with the strategy over time. How would it fare? Well, now we're up over 1,000%. I can also come down, add commissions, even add slippage, and then even put in margin for long and short positions if I wanted to, just to customize the backtest to make it more realistic to what I would be actually trading and how it all works. So that's how we get these different numbers, and that's why things might be different. But what I was noticing, okay, so let's say we just assume that we start with $1,000 and we just trade this out, over the course of time. Great. We're going to be up 1,122%. Awesome. Great. But what if you make one switch and you say, okay, let's try this on QQQ. Now we are up 1,639% with a 35% drawdown. Since this dates you back to 1999, March 26, 1999. You want to get even crazier? Type in AAPL. Change this to trading Apple. Now there's more drawdown, 65%. So you take on more risk. But look at this. 36,675% gains in the past since 1998. That's insane. 36,000%. Now, if we are being honest here, let's bring it back on Apple and let's go back in time and show you what that would be. If you were to buy Apple in 2000 or 1998, which would be absolutely insane looking back in hindsight. This is a log chart, so it doesn't look as impressive as it really is. You would be up approximately 910,000%. So that's just insane. Apple's just silly. Silly example. But bring it back to SPY. This is really, really promising stuff. Now, a 72% win rate with a 1.889 profit factor is pretty cool. Now, they did mention in the strategy to check futures. Now, this application can be a bit more risky, but let's just humor it and let's play it out. I have to change this to just one contract. It won't let me do a percent of equity in this situation. But if I do that, I get to 1,000% return, so very similar to SPY, but I have a 242% drawdown, which is not great because, again, with that more risk on the futures and they're more volatile and you're getting more leverage. So I'd have to increase my starting balance to $10,000 instead of $1,000 in order for this to be safer. And I'd fall into a 38% drawdown with 100% returns dating back to, this brings you back to 2019. So about the past 6 or 7 years. Either way, still very, very impressive. However you want to apply it, whether it's SPY, whether it's futures, this can be applied very, very cleanly. And the thing is, when you jump over to MNQ, and instead of trading SPY or trading S&P futures, go to the NASDAQ futures, it does even better. Since 2019, it's up 246%. 2.434 profit factor is nuts. This is a ton of data, 104 trades. Like this is pretty good stuff. So the question you're probably asking though is, okay, awesome. I love it. Great. What do I do? How do I use this? What do I do? Well, let's bring this back to QQQ as an example. I'm literally going to do this live for you so you can see this. So I'm going to bring it back to QQQ. I'm going to just change the settings for the back test. Doesn't really matter. Let's say I start with $1,000 and I go percent of equity and I go 100%. So it's just continuously using my full account balance on this and just, retrading that every time. So let's go with that. That's fine. Now on AlphaInsider right now, if you wanted to use the SPY strategy, which is chipping away 23.38% right now, awesome, great. Click on the auto trade button. You probably won't have an option here, but if you go to new broker connection, you'll see the Alpaca logo. Click on that. Alpaca is like one of the best when it comes to trading automations in terms of like user friendliness. This video will show you exactly how to set things up, get your API keys, which you'll plug in right here. Once you have those, you're good to go. Or you can start with a paper account like I do for all my testing, and I can test things with that account, which works great before you go live. Let's say I want to add this to my existing trading bot. I'm going to change my allocations. I currently have these two strategies looking pretty good, but I want to change things a bit. So let's say that this one's done really, really, really well as of late. I want to get thinner on that one. So I'm going to drop this down to 25%. What that means is I'm going to have 14% remaining. This is also pretty hefty. It's also done very, very well. I'm going to drop that to 50%, which now means I have 25 remaining that I'm going to put over here on this trading strategy. So now I bring this one in, I change my allocations, click on save, and now my trading bot is going to rebalance, which by the way, it's done insane as of late as I've been testing some stuff, just because look at this. This Intel strategy is crushing it. No wonder. But now this is part of it's a whole video in and of itself, but managing your trading bots, you could leave things and let them run. But when things are doing really, really well, you might want to lower your allocation so you can not be overexposed to when they do turn back and maybe not do as well anymore. And just like that, this is a paper account, but if it was live, it would be trading for me, automatically rebalancing. I'm good. I'm literally good. As long as my button is on, we are good, locked and loaded, and all of our trades are taking place just how I want them. But now let's say that I wanted to change things, customize it. I make some new adjustments to the code, or I use QQQ in this situation. And I say, let's ride with QQQ. But how do I bring that into AlphaInsider? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to AlphaInsider. I'm going to go to the resources section, and I'm going to go to where it says connect to TradingView. And I'm going to scroll down here. I can either watch this video. You can follow me in this video, or you can watch this video. This is a great video, just a shorter video to kind of get you exactly what you need. And then you can follow the step-by-step guidance here. So I'm going to go right here, click on this or copy this link, go back to my QQQ, scroll down to my current strategy, hit the three dots. Click on add alert on the hobby code RSI plus close previous day. I'm going to go to where it says notifications. That is where you'll see the webhook URL. I'm going to paste the webhook URL from AlphaInsider that we just copied right there. I'm not going to save or create anything just yet. Go to message is next. I'm going to go back to AlphaInsider. I'm going to copy this right here. I'm going to paste that in right there. We now have the message. I'm going to call this hobby, not MNQ. I want to go QQQ. Don't click create just yet. We now need to go inside and edit this text. So for where it says strategy ID, enter the AlphaInsider strategy ID you would like to send alerts to. This can be found in the URL bar when looking at the strategy on the strategy page. What I need to do is I need to go to my portfolio. You can see how this strategy is doing. Not great. A lot of repainting going on there. You go to your portfolio, click on a new strategy. I'm going to go hobby QQQ. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to copy this. This way I can add it to my description, adjust that description to make it what I want, put a starting balance of $1,000. In this case, stock, public. I'm fine with that. Now click on create. Okay, there will be nothing here. Not a problem. Back to this page on AlphaInsider, we have to find the strategy ID. This is going to be in the URL bar when looking at the strategy from the strategy page. So I'm going to go back to my created strategy right here, and I am going to grab the strategy ID, which is after the slash. Click on or copy that. Bring us back to TradingView. Paste that in right there. Now we need the stock ID. Enter the AlphaInsider stock ID you wish to trade. Find it by searching for the stock on AlphaInsider under the trade tab, locating it in the info box. So how I would do this inside of my strategy, go to the trade tab, type in QQQ, There she is. And it's going to be this line right here. QQQ : NASDAQ. Grab that, bring her back to TradingView, paste her right in. Awesome. Next, use strategy, market position. We don't have to change that. Leverage a number from 0 to 2. 2x margin is 2. The problem here is that you got to be careful because of any slippage. So we recommend 1.95. I'm going to go 1.75 on this one just to make it safe and simple. 1.75. And the last piece is the API token. API token, the AlphaInsider API key created on the developer settings page. Click on the link to that. I had to just watch myself really quick to make sure I did this correctly. But under permissions, trades, new order, that's all we need. Create key, copy that key, bring it back here. It's going to be a long piece of text. Instead of API token in the quotes, paste that in, boom. And now, make sure I go to settings, open-ended alert. Same as chart, 1 day. I'm just going to time this to the 1 day. We should be good. I'm going to turn notifications off because I get so many alerts as it is. And now I'm going to click on create. Now, when you go to your alerts tab, you should see an active alert for the alert that you just created. And now over time, as trades play out, we will start to see them populate on the performance right inside of here. Does that mean we're auto trading yet? No. What I'm now going to do is click on the auto trade button, connect my Alpaca broker for this stock account, and then I'll get to a page that looks like this where I can edit my allocations and play it out from there. So in this case, I probably want to add an allocation to this, but I'm going to let it run, make sure things are working properly for a little bit before I add the allocation inside of this trading bot. So there you guys have it. That was a fully encompassing walkthrough of what the strategy does, how it's been killing it, and then how we can utilize it. And within minutes, literally within minutes, have it trading for us, and we can completely remove ourselves from having to click the buttons. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can always go into a strategy right here, click on the little notification tab, and get notified when you have trades come through. And then you can go and manually place those trades on your broker if you would like. Leave any questions, comments, concerns in the comment section down below. This is a pretty cool strategy that came across. I didn't create it. I just made the modification to trade QQQ, but you can go ahead and modify it, do whatever you want, however you want. Anybody can upload a strategy to the site. Anybody can make them public. And then we all get to reap the rewards of the good and the bad strategies. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.